We are the youth, fighting for our future because we don't know the truth.
In a society filled with real love, trill love, all its irony, no escaping.
Constantly anticipating a new generation.
Ain't no waiting, we ready for a change. It's messing with our brains.
Messing with our brains.
Messing with our brains. Messing with our brains. Fighting for the Hudson, our water is important.
The corruption of our government is making us appreciate the values of our cities.
As the people, fight for believing.
These guys' mistakes increase their rate.
For justice, no more waiting. For justice, no more waiting. For justice, no more waiting. For justice, no more waiting.
We live along the shores of the Hudson River at the beginning of the Erie Canal, Lock 1, the birthplace of the American Industrial Revolution.
The history of the Erie Canal and the devastating effects it has had on our community are mostly unknown, even to the people of Troy who live right next to it. Our river and our neighborhood have been poisoned by a legacy of pollution.
This is our call to action. For justice.
And for our future,
No more waiting.
no more waiting.
We learned that just feet from our door, a Mohican village named Unawat's Castle had a sacred burial ground. In the 1600s to mid-1700s, before the United States existed, the Stockbridge-Munsee Mohicans were forced by increasing pressures of the Dutch and English colonists to leave their homes on the shores of the Hudson River, relocating from Troy to Massachusetts to Wisconsin. Mohican means people from the waters that are never still. This is their poem. You are one who walked yesterday, pulled from your place in time. And now I see that your feet once stood here, imprinting the earth where I stand, in moccasins I will never see, dancing, bending in the same sun, to a song I will never hear. The stories you would have told were silenced by other tongues, yet your blood is in mine, a link over time. I imagine your life from these feelings. Though I see you belonged undisturbed, covered with this dust we share. Now walk with those who are gone.
Calling the Troy Lock, requesting passage north.
This is where the Erie Canal starts.
General Electric used to have, they still have power plants on the river. They also did manufacturing, and as a byproduct, they created these things called PCBs. They're called polychlorinated biophenols, which are these artificial chemicals that ended up being spread all over kind of the sediment and then going into fish and then going into us.
So with these, we're going to test them on different types of medium, and we're going to check for antibiotic resistance. There's a lot of things going into the river, people not being very mindful of what they're doing with their antibiotics. So we just want to raise awareness for that. These guys are our citizen scientists that are doing that.
I think it's really important that we're doing this, and I think it's pretty cool to learn about everything, but I hope we get the message out there by doing it.
Little of the wealth from 19th century industrialization remains in our neighborhood in north central Troy. More than 50 potential brownfield sites are located in north central, including the Hudson River, contaminated with PCBs and other pollutants. 69% of children live in poverty here. We have an unemployment rate that is 30% higher than the national average. 1/3 of our residents did not complete high school. People even die earlier compared to richer communities around us. Lifespans in our neighborhood are 15 to 20 years shorter.
We was at my crib, like always on the steps. Ariana was there. We was always in the hallway, you know, like it was always little parties going on around there. We used to be playing manhunt late at night. And honestly, if you ever been to the Kings, the Heights, Phelan's, or any of them places, you played manhunt. You played manhunt.
It's summertime. There's no pools now.
Everybody will be here right now. Like,
Facts.
it'll just be that time you waking up, getting ready to put your bathing suit on.
There's nothing to do outside, basically. You just want to stay inside the house. That's it.
Yeah. Because there's like nothing to do out here. They ain't got nothing, no programs, no activities for the kids or everything to do. So all they do is get into trouble and whatnot.
It's out nowadays. It's like we just sit home, probably on our phones or our devices, chilling in the AC, doing nothing. And then people are going to be driving by like, what are these kids doing around here? What are they doing? That's all fun. We need more basketball courts around here. Like, we need to put more buildings. Like more...
Something about that building right there just screams basketball court.
Well, because they have some guy or under the freaking bridge.
Troy, you can easily fix the problems here. All you gotta do is build something for the kids to go to. Have more jobs available in Troy
for the younger, for the teens. You know what I'm saying? It's only
not just the summer youth program, like something throughout year round.
Year-round job. You feel me?
Because if you pay attention nowadays, everybody's trying to get a job. Everybody's trying to.
Everyone want to make their own money, and you see, look at having these kids work. They're not in the streets in trouble.
Like half the kids that stand over there is just because they can't get a job. They're looking, but they just.
She said, oh, look at this. Look at the pictures. Is that what we just went through? Is that the thingy?
My soul is more than
Sis, wait, is this the thingy? Is that the
lock?
that's
the lock.
It's the lock we just went through.
So like show the picture and like look at students.
Look guys, this is, what is it called? The federal lock. Hell yeah. Wait, right there.
Put your face in it. Look on the side of you like this.
Herman Melville, the author of Moby Dick, lived in our neighborhood, along the shore of the Hudson River as a young man. His inspiration for the story is said to have come from sitting on his front porch and talking to sailors passing by. He was so inspired that he took to sea himself on a whaling ship, and then he came home to write about it.
For 360 miles through the entire breadth of the state of New York, flows a continual stream of Venetianly corrupt and often lawless life. A terror to the smiling innocence of the villages through which he floats. His swart visage and bold swagger are not unshunned in cities. To many thousands of our rural boys and young men born along its line, the probationary life of the Grand Canal furnishes the sole transition between quietly reaping in a Christian cornfield and recklessly plowing the waters of the most barbaric seas. We took a walking tour of Troy and plotted places on a map to research significant historical places and the Erie Canal's impact on our lives today.
Our mission statement is we recognize every face and every story. That was not always true when a lot of, not just us, but a lot of historical societies were really starting to just document a certain class at a certain level, and frankly it was white men of a certain income. We are eliminating entire races, entire socioeconomic levels. We've eliminated women. So we've now spent the last 20 years really trying to pull that history back together, and that's not always easy.
Basically what we have to do, and what we're gonna have to keep doing, is calling people and just keep talking to people, because they're the only resource that's really gonna be of any help to us. Yeah.
Paul Laurence Dunbar is regarded as one of the greatest African American poets. Born in 1872 to freed slaves from Kentucky, as the only student of color in his high school, he became the class president and class poet. He tried to get a job writing, but because of his skin color, he had to take a job as an elevator operator in order to support his poetry writing, which received international acclaim. We broke down Dunbar's poem, We Wear the Mask, to see what it really means. The mask represents covering up the truth. The ecological destruction of the Hudson River is a story that is ignored or covered up by those with power. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This debt we pay to human guile. With torn and bleeding hearts we smile, and mouth with myriad subtleties. Why should the world be overwise in counting all our tears and sighs? Nay, let them only see us, while we wear the mask.
we wouldn't exist without water. Water makes up majority of this planet. Water's inside of us and every living organism on this planet.
JOC is a First Nations Mohawk hip-hop artist, activist, and performer. He came to the sanctuary to share his experience at Standing Rock, North Dakota. He helped us to create our own lyrics to tell our own story through song.
And then right next to the lyrics, what we're going to do is I want you to think of all the places we've been or places that you want to go, things that represent the lyrics that you see.
I had the opportunity to write one song at camp in my tent. And the song is about everything we're talking about right now.
And we're gonna show you how Mr. JOC performs. Let's drop it, Jamel. So I showed you the story about Standing Rock, right? Yeah. All right, how did you feel when you guys watched that? Sad. We still have a reason to fight. We still have a reason to keep going. We still have a reason to protect each and every one of you, as well as this planet that we have to survive on. That's why water is life. Drop that, you know. So keep in mind that I wrote this at that camp, in the cold, with cops over the hill ready to shoot you and arrest you and take you away. Hey. Sitting back at the camp like nighttime with them lamp lights. We're warriors, we been fighting. Front line with them flags fly. Put the wire around, taking that down. Prayerful action in the nighttime. Winter lightning in the background. No depot, no pipelines. This is all time, that 7th gen. Hate fire and it burns within. You can see it in the eyes that we see through the lies. We'll fight the corrupt to the end. I've been around, but this is it. Every moment right up to this. Every skill, every little gift. I finally feel what it's like to live, and I'm on it. Mother Earth is crying, we know that it's a time. We fight for all the children, put our lives up on the line. Protect the land, we must defend. Teach truth to all the youth. Our Mother Earth is crying, we know that it's a time. We fight for all the children, put our lives up on the line. Constant pray, every day. Always give thanks for everything, man. Thank these dancers right now. Let's get another round of applause for DJ Jamel on the ones and twos.
I've got a mule and her name is Sal. 15 years on the Erie Canal.
Unscrew, collect maybe as the waves coming in, and then screw.
And a good old
Everybody's
pal.
here labeled and dated, right?
15 years on the Erie Canal. We'd haul some barges in our day, filled with lumber, coal, and hay. And we know every inch of the way from Albany to Buffalo.
Just took your samples, and what you're going to do is take them back, those samples, and you're going to put them onto some little petri dishes. We learned before that we could make all kinds of chemicals. We could make all kinds of paints, and we dumped them into this river. And we made a lot of money. I mean, as you know, the United States really gained a lot of wealth in the world by basically dumping their waste away. Well, now we are dealing with the waste, and it's really important for young people to participate in a scientific effort to gather the information about what are the chemicals and the microbiological pollutants that threaten our health. How do we get the information to people that can make decisions about, we're going to clean this place up? No one else is going to do it. There's a lot of people out there that actually say they're scientists, and what they do is they get enough information to say, oh, we're going to ignore that. I call those ignorant people. Don't be ignorant.
The next one coming is the same medium, but this one has antibiotics on it. It has penicillin, okay, ampicillin, and neomycin. Okay, so this is the big one. That was your control plate. Now this is the one that we're really going to want to check in a couple days to see if bacteria has spread.
Can you hold this, please?
This is the one with antibiotics, right? LBA. So look, there's bacteria growing in here, even though there's antibiotics.
Oh, okay.
So this is why we're talking about bacteria in this way. Not just that there's antibiotic resistant bacteria, but that we're trying to understand all around us. We're part of the environment's part of us.
Thomas Cole was an American painter of the Hudson River School. He observed firsthand the rapid development of the Hudson River Valley during the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, influencing his political philosophies on conservation of our natural areas. He was an environmental artist ahead of his time, bringing attention to what could be lost if we made decisions only based on money and industry. Although an enlightened and increasing people have broken in upon the solitude, and with activity and power wrought changes that seem magical. Yet, the most distinctive and perhaps the most impressive characteristic of American scenery is its wildness. It is the most distinctive because in civilized Europe, the primitive features of scenery have been long since destroyed or modified. Nature has spread for us a rich and delightful banquet. Shall we turn from it? We are still in Eden. The wall that shuts us out of the garden is our own ignorance and folly.
And it's like the environmental movement's only from the 70s, and look at how far we've come.
Brandon Balangi is a bioartist, bringing together art and biology with his environmental research. His work mainly consists of marine life and the conservation of the environment and its resources.
We're gonna just do some basic biological sampling, looking for different species of fish. We wanna take a cross-section of whatever's living there and bring it up so we can observe it and look at them, and then we'll hopefully catch a few things and then have to ask ourselves some questions about whether or not we release them or keep them. I mean, you live in proximity to the river, but that idea of knowing that there's all these migratory species that come up, and even though we know how polluted it is, it's probably cleaner than it's been in 100 years.
I think I got something.
What? Reel it in.
You know, so it's like a good reason to keep pushing to try to help conservation and try to make sure that water quality improves over time. Hopefully, I was thinking we could go down, do a little cleanup. Maybe it'll inspire people not to dump so much stuff in the first place. That's always what I think.
Everything we collected from Ingalls Ave.
Just leave it open. We're gonna do some scanning of specimens and also some sorting of like whatever garbage we collect.
Those are cool. Oh, those are beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this ancient Japanese tradition, which is fish printing with ink. Right? So this is an American eel, right? Conservation is only a field that's just really starting.
Like really sticky.
So it's really like a race between ideas and interests. So trying to hopefully get young people inspired about the life that's here and the life in other parts of the world, and realize that it's fantastic and hopefully worth fighting for.
It has to do with development.
Can you paint it? Yeah, let's kind of see. That's pretty beautiful, huh? Like lots of detail.
We learned that solar energy is the technology used to harness the power of the sun. Solar energy is a safe alternative to current fossil fuels like coal and gas and can help reduce pollution.
We're on a boat run by solar power.
The deep rumble of the diesel engines,
Yes.
the smell, the danger from carbon monoxide, all of those things. Have you noticed those? Presumably not. This is Solar Sound northbound toward the Federal Lock. Over.
Yeah, good morning. It's Tuck Marco. We'll be coming out of the Federal Lock here. Are you over on that East Passage?
We are. We're out of your way.
Erie Canal.
Whoa. I'm looking at the word. Will you stand up here? Good reason.
I can't relate to it, but I mean,
See, the gates are closing behind us and put us in the bathtub. Oh, you This cell is covered up and it'll get more covered up. Push out the stern.
Vandana Shiva is one of the world's most famous and effective ecological advocates. She is an Indian scholar, physicist, and environmental activist who fights for the preservation of our land and our water. Water is nature's gift. We receive water freely from nature. Water is the source of life. Water connects all beings in all parts of the planet through the water cycle. Water is a commons. Water is limited and can be exhausted. No one has the right to overuse, abuse, waste, or pollute water systems. Water must be conserved. Everyone has a duty to conserve water and use water sustainably within ecological and just limits.
Jun Yasuda is a Japanese Buddhist nun and environmental activist who led us on a sacred water walk while chanting prayers for a peace-filled and brighter future for our earth. The purpose of the water walk was to share the importance of our water and to protest the installment of oil pipelines that leak and poison everything we need to live.
This is indigenous Native American practice ceremony. So hold it, say a prayer, and offer it to the river. Please join in.
This song is now open for anybody to sing. It's a water blessing song.
Our planet suffering, we have to care about water. So we have to little bit sacrifice hot and cold and wet. Little bit sacrifice to pray for earth and water.
What is the power of people to make a change?
You know already.
We are the sanctuary.
We are the youth, fighting for our future because we don't know the truth.
In the society feel real love, trill love, all this irony, no escaping.
Constantly anticipating a new generation.
Ain't no waiting, we ready for a change. It's messing with our brains.
Messing with our brains.
Messing with our brains. Messing with our brains. Fighting for the Hudson, our water is important.
The corruption of our government is making us appreciate the values of our cities.
As the people, fight for believing.
These guys' mistakes increase the rate.
For justice, no more waiting. For justice, no more waiting. For justice, no more waiting. For justice, no more waiting.
I was happy how our song actually, when it was put together, how it came out. Because we all worked together to make the song. Sadly, you see, there's nothing to do in Troy. When we wrote this, it felt like they gave us an opportunity to keep our mind off of something negative and put it into something positive. Yeah.
My name is Roseby, and basically in that video we were talking about the things that go on in Troy, what we saw in our eyes, and how it should change at least.
I believe that it was very educational and important that we learned about the river and all that science stuff, because we didn't know how dirty or polluted it was until we tested the
part in critiquing them. And my thorn is, other than today's the last day, I don't have